welcome to our presentation. I'm Angelique Meza.
And I'm Allyson.
And we are American Architecture and Design.
So a little bit about our team. Like I said, my name is Allie, and I am a four-year student here at Grandview High School, where I've taken computer-aided design and architectural drawing. I plan to major in architecture at CU Denver in 2022.
And like I've mentioned, my name is Angelique Meza. I'm also a four-year student here at Grandview. I've also taken CAD and architectural drawing, but I've also taken drawing and painting through classes 1 through 3, and I am planning to major in architecture at Cornell University at this point.
So here is our logo. Modern Greeks use the word mariki to mean when you put a little bit of soul and creativity in what you do, basically putting a little bit of yourself in your project. So that's what we wanted to do with that. With our colors, we use blue, black, and beige. The blue represents stability, the beige represents unification, and the black represents sophistication. So for our shapes, we use right angles and straight lines, especially with our work placement, and it just basically shows stability again, and that's basically the image that we wanted to put with our company.
So now we're going to be getting into the project. So our project's name is Sonder, and so what Sonder means is that you realize that everybody else lives just as much of a complex life as you, even if you aren't aware of it.
So our initial project proposal, we wanted to design an urban and communal apartment complex that focused on green philosophy, architectural psychology, smart home technology, and self-sustainability. We wanted to focus on the individual with an emphasis on community, and it was going to have a contemporary and open concept.
So for a little bit of the inspiration behind this project, one big part of it was concept design. So me and Allie really liked the idea of being able to come up with our own ideas for our own project and being able to put that down on paper and really get to explore and experiment with those ideas. Another inspiration comes from my artistic passion. As I've mentioned, I've taken drawing and painting classes before, and it's something I really love doing. So getting to draw out floor plans and getting to sketch out and just design in general was something that I was really passionate about and interested in this project. Another part of it is both Allie and I are really interested in environmental sustainability, which is why self-sustainable design and green design is a big part of this project. Another part was some background knowledge we previously had in lead from our architectural drawing class, so we wanted to further explore that and see how we could integrate that with our project. And lastly, this year I was also taking an AP Environmental Science class, which kind of also dug into how our built environment could affect the way we interact with our environment, and so I wanted to kind of integrate that into the project as well.
Angel and I shared a lot of goals very similarly together. So our first one was basically just gaining experience in public speaking, and especially in long duration presentations. Our second was gaining experience in just architecture in the field of it in general, with floor plans and walkthroughs and just everything. Our next one was gaining experience in different programs for architecture, specifically in Revit and Lumion. Revit is a 3D modeling program that a lot of architects use, and Lumion was more for getting that full imagery out there. Our next one was basically enhancing more research skills such as building journals. And the second one is green design, because like Angel mentioned, we're big advocates for green and environmentally friendly design. So we will have that more incorporated in LEED, which we will explain later. And then we wanted to also tackle real-world issues such as mental health, community, and climate change with our design. So that's what we've really focused on with this project.
Next we want to talk about our team. So firstly, our advisors are split into two. So these are our expert advisors. Firstly, we have Mr. Alexander Bender, who is a project manager at Thomasite Architecture Studio. And so he was really responsible for helping us kind of give that feedback for our concept designs, helping us figure out any mishaps we might have in our concept and what we need to think about. He was also exponentially helpful when it came to some program help when we ran into issues in other parts, especially with Revit and figuring out Lumion. Next, we have Courtney Wilson. She is an interior designer at Echo Interior and Architecture. She also helped with concept design and figuring out in those early stages what we could do with the project and kind of figuring out how our spaces would work. She also helped give some guidance in our research's project as well, especially for me when it came to some of the research I did, which I'll further explain. We also had Mr. Tom Magnuson, who also worked at Echo Architecture and Interior. He is an architectural designer, and so he was, along with Alexander Bender, he was really helpful with concept design, figuring out structures, programs, and just giving general feedback on the progress of our project.
So like Angel mentioned, our advisors were split into an expert and support group. So this is my support group. I have Krista Keller and Alec Lee. Krista is a senior here at Grandview High School, and Alec is a senior at Cherokee Trail High School, and they both just provided ways for me to bounce ideas off of and just gain moral support.
For my support advisors, I had my dad, Meza, and so my dad owns his own commercial painting company, and he's had experience in construction. So he was really helpful in just giving feedback and some of the experiences he's had and what we could do to improve our project and some of the conceptual design as well. And nextly, I had my friend Melody Wagu. She was really helpful in just giving feedback when I needed it from an outside perspective and also for moral support.
So this hits on the technology that we used throughout the project. The main three were BIM Object, Revit, and Lumion. So BIM Object was actually introduced to us by Mr. Combs, and it helped us a lot because with Revit, we had a very limited loaded-in family of furniture and just variables in general, such as trees and stuff. So BIM Object really helped us being able to import a variety of elements into our project, and we'll really show that when we hit into our render photos. And Revit was the main program that we used to model our building. It's where we converted our floor plans, our hand-drawn floor plans, into a online situation where we also did our rendering and walkthroughs. Lumion helped us with really conceptualizing our design in our building in the end, which we will show in the presentation.
Nextly, we want to talk about our initial timeline. So, from October to November, we planned on doing phase 1, which was called research and planning. So during this phase, what me and Allie really wanted to work on was our research and conceptual design. So for our research, we each had about 3 to 4 topics we were researching. So we had planned to do it by a weekly basis. However, we'll talk about later how that did not happen. And we also wanted to focus on being able to sketch out some ideas and getting a general idea of what we wanted to do for the project and putting that down on paper. Nextly, through November and January, we had planned to start our Revit modeling. So that was really taking those conceptual designs that we had made and putting that into floor plans in Revit and the 3D model. After that, we had planned from January to April to go into a physical model and presentation. So basically what this was is we were planning to make a cross-sectional 3D model in person so we could give a little bit more perspective on the actual project. And we also wanted to take some time to plan this presentation.
So what actually ended up happening in November, we were still stuck on, we were beginning our floor plans. We needed to be, initially they needed to be drawn and finalized. That didn't end up actually happening. We also needed, heading into December, we were supposed to be into, like I said, the Revit portion and phase, but we were actually still hitting concept designs. We were advised during one of our first meetings with our expert advisors to actually just stay in concept designs and really focus on that before hitting into Revit, because Revit is more finalized and it's harder to revise in that program. So we were advised to stay in the concept design phase a little bit more. Once we hit January, we really got into Revit and just grinding into that program and just transferring all of our floor plans and getting our ideas onto this program. This is when we actually started modeling. In March, we were hitting our physical model. We began our physical model research into seeing different types of actual physical models. We had our expert meeting in here where we spoke about a specific type of model that we wanted to try to emulate, but we will talk about that later in the presentation. In March we were actually still in Revit, but then in April we began to really finish in Revit, as Revit did take a little bit longer than expected, and we began experimenting into Lumion to transfer our Revit model into there. Thankfully they were compatible, and we started beginning to build our physical model in April. And now here we are at the final presentation.
All right, so now we're going to go into our research and planning, which was our phase 1. So for my research, one of the biggest portions was LEED, and so in LEED, there are 7 main components, but when talking to our advisors, they led me to someone named Sarah Vanderpool, who actually had a lot of experience in LEED, and so she had kind of walked me through the basics of LEED, because we found out that it was a really extensive process to kind of checklist and go through, which we didn't want to spend our entire year trying to do. So instead, Sarah had advised that we look at some of the main components of LEED, being the overall subsections of LEED, and just kind of picking out some portions that we could really integrate into our project. So firstly is location and transportation. So the big part of location and transportation is building on a brownfield. And what a brownfield basically is a land site that is previously contaminated that you take and then clean up. And so it's kind of this idea of being able to take some land space that you plan on constructing on and cleaning it up to make it more environmentally friendly. Another part of location and transportation is really encouraging public transportation and walking instead of personal vehicles, so that way you have less of a carbon footprint for each of your residents, specifically for our apartment complex. The next section is sustainable sites. So a big part of this was just including a lot of greenery and vegetation into the project, so that way we can help fight problems like heat islands. And heat islands really pertain to cities where you have a lot of roofs that are open to a lot of sun exposure, and they tend to absorb a lot of heat. So what things like xeriscaping and green roofs can do is help provide a lot of shading and absorption of this vegetation, so that a lot of that sunlight isn't being absorbed by the building itself. Nextly, we have water efficiency. So drip irrigation goes a lot with xeriscaping, and it's just that idea that the vegetation helps kind of irrigate itself instead of you having to pump a lot of water. That really reduces your water efficiency. Another part of this was using Energy Star utilities within the apartment complex itself. So Energy Star is a company that produces utilities like refrigerators, sinks, etc., that have water meters and energy meters integrated into them, so you can really measure how much an entire building or house is really consuming over a year or over a specified interval. So while we keep continuing to lead, the next subsection was energy and atmosphere. So like Energy Star, a big part of this was energy meters that you can include into the apartment complex to really know how much consumption of energy your apartment is using on a daily basis and on a long-term interval, so you can know how efficient your apartment is running. The next part of this was triple pane E-coated glass. So what this was integrating an idea of passive solar energy, because a lot of non-triple pane E-coated windows tend to have climate bridges. And so what this means is the insulated, cooled or heated air inside your apartment can escape through the windows to the outside air. And so it means you're using a lot more energy in order to keep your apartment cooled or heated. Another part of this is R20 insulation that you can include into the walls and building structure of the apartment. And it just helps insulate your building better, so again, you're using less energy in order to keep everything heated and cooled. And so this makes it, integrating these two technologies makes it really more efficient and environmentally friendly overall. The next part is materials and resources. So a big part of this was just being really material conscious and environmentally friendly. So that means the materials you use tend to be sustainably harvested, like wood, and they just tend to have less contaminants and overall of a footprint on the environment. Also, some examples of this are concrete, paper stone, and fly ash, which were recommended to me by Sarah, so it's something we wanted to integrate into the project as well. Lastly, we have indoor environmental quality. So a big part of this is just making sure that you're taking into consideration the health and kind of hygiene of the residents. And so a lot of this is just making sure the materials that you use inside the apartment complexes have low VOCs. And what VOCs are basically small particulates that your materials release. And so what they can do is they can cause things like asthma or other health effects that might affect your residents. So it's just being able to pick out and see what materials you're using and making sure that they don't release a lot of VOCs that could eventually impact your residents' health. For my next research, I really went into environmental structures and technology. And so firstly, one big one that was advised from my advisors to look into was how structures can impact residents' health. So through my research, we learned a lot about communal health, mainly through Frederick Law Olmsted and Le Corbusier, were two architects, famous architects, that did a lot in the modernistic architecture movement. And so basically what they focused on was integrating light, air, and open space into their designs and seeing how that impacts people's overall health. And so what we learned is during the modernistic movement, health crises such as the tuberculosis epidemic actually started to see improvement when we had architectural spaces that had a lot more open space, open to fresh air and sun, and these patients really started to recover. So there's this idea of once you integrate these principles, you're really allowing for a better overall sanitary area for your residents. The other part of this was sustainable technology. As previously mentioned, it kind of goes into LEED. So it's this idea of green roofs using passive solar energy through the triple E-coated windows, and just implementing a lot of vegetation so it can help kind of improve that environmental impact you have overall. So lastly, the last part of my research was something that I personally was really passionate about studying, and it was architectural psychology. So that was how the design of your architecture can really impact the emotional and mental state of its residents. So the first part I looked into was color, and somebody I really studied a lot was Le Corbusier again. And so he kind of made up these ideas of architectural polychromy and the modular. So architectural polychromy is at the top and the modular is at the bottom. So what I learned through this research is that color is more than just painting walls. What color does is it really shapes the character and the overall mood that your apartment complex gives to its residents. So what Le Corbusier did is that you could pick certain colors from his architectural polychromy into palettes, and these would all give off a specific kind of mood and overall character of the environment to help kind of promote mental health and stability within your residents and the environment. Another big part of it was space, so that's where the modular comes really handy into. So what this was he kind of integrated this idea of the multiple standards. So we have the standards of an industrial and overall generalized, globalized industry, while still taking into consideration individual needs and local cultural needs. So what he did was he came up with this system of measurement, as shown below. And it's kind of this integration of both local and cultural standard measurements with a globalized and generalized standard of measurements to kind of bring this harmony between the two, which better suits a person and their needs in a specific space. And so it was how overall space kind of can also impact how a person feels about their environment and how they interact with that environment.
So moving on to my aspect of the research, my first one was design concepts and inspiration for our buildings. Angel and I love windows, and we wanted to incorporate that idea of natural light into our building. So as natural light directly contributes to mental health, and it also helps just make the building feel more open. The second portion was color inspiration. Like she said, she focused a lot on how color can inspire and affect the mental health. So we really liked the idea of light, matte black, wood, all paired together because it just represented modern and sleek ideas that we wanted in our building. My second research topic was sustainable materials. This paired really well with the sustainable technology. So for example, there's companies out there who are all taking steps into becoming more environmentally friendly and producing more sustainable materials. Our first one is newspaper wood. They basically recycle old newspapers and glue because we're in a growing modern technology world, so we have less and less uses for newspaper. So what it does is it creates wood-esque looking materials for design, interior design, and all that. Another much similar company like newspaper wood is Barclay. They basically do the same thing. The second one is fire clay tile. They basically use recycled glass and they make new tiles. So it's really based in California, but that will also, we can also take that design and that ideas and bring it to Colorado, where we really based our building off of, and that can create more jobs and bring that new kind of environmental movement to Colorado. The second one is coal fly ash, like Angel recognized in the beginning of the slides. It's basic. It can be recycled and provide stronger and more durable concrete, and it's also like a very big component of LEED, so that's what I looked into. My second really tied into sustainable technology, and that was technology integration into our building. So there, like I said, there are companies out there who are really pushing for that environmental movement. So we have solar windows, blinds, and gaps. This basically just incorporates that environmental factor into everyday life. We all need blinds and gaps, so we have Vizi's power windows, and they are able to buy, and they are on the market. Blinds and gaps available as well, and basically it follows the shape and the movement of the sun throughout the day to be able to contain and grab as much solar power as they can throughout the day. The second one is basically producing a smarter home, and this is through the company IOTIS. They have a product called the Hub, which, like I said, makes this home smarter. It has things such as smart locks to improve and cut down on the cost of actual locks and keys, conventional locks and keys. It also has smart thermostats, so it can detect whether a person walks into a room to begin heating it, so we save energy. And then we have water sensors to really help, for example, landlords when they want to see, at this time throughout the day, water usage is most especially up, so then on the days that, on the times that it is not, it can really cut down water usage. So our next one, like I said before, was Revit furniture, and this really helped with BIM object. So BIM object, like I said before, it really helped us able to load in different variables and components. So we had, BIM object was able to help us load in more elements, and like I said before, it was Revit compatible, and it offered just so much more furniture and elements that we could use that Revit did not have previously.
Alright, so next we have some conceptual sketches that we made during the beginning phases. So again, this was during phase 1 that we started during the first semester. So at the top here you can kind of see some exterior bird's eye view of some ideas we had. So these would be the sides of buildings where residential apartments would be held. We have an elevator hallway kind of a situation going here. We also wanted to integrate some balconies again for that research of open space and having that availability of environment and fresh air. Over here we have some concept sketches of kind of what our communal areas would look like. So again, just trying to integrate these ideas of tenant spaces, which we'll further talk about, and again, just that communal idea. Down here, same thing, conceptual sketches of communal areas, kind of exterior plans, and just an overall exterior front view of what we wanted to do with the building. And it kind of did change as we went along. Again, we were advised by our advisors pretty early on to keep conceptualizing and thinking about how our project came together. So this kind of did ended up transforming a bit, but this is kind of the foundation of where it all started.
So beginning with Revit, so phase 2 was our Revit modeling. So for level 1, this really was based off of the dairy block, and we had basically, we wanted to incorporate an idea where people just off the streets could just come in. The bottom level 1 of our building was for tenant spaces, so these would be conceptually stores or whatever. This back part, we really wanted to add a cafe, and that cafe basically goes into level 2.
So I was in charge of designing level 2 and kind of modeling that in Revit. So what we have here is in the back, kind of where that cafe area was in level 1, is kind of this indoor pool area secluded right here. Then we have some free rentable spaces for just anybody who wants to rent it. On the sides here, we have rentable tenant spaces and just areas for things like restaurants and other stuff that you would integrate normally in kind of like a commercial and apartment area space for rent. But the biggest portion of this project was this middle area right here. What that is an open patio space that we had on our level 2. So what would happen is through this middle here, you have 2 stairs, grand staircases that come up from level 1. And so from that, you kind of are in this open area where there's a green roof, so again, there's grass on the level itself. You have tables kind of for people to meet, commute, and kind of just hang out outside. These 2 squares right here are actually our elevators. So we do have elevators open on level 1 as well, but they go up to level 2 and to the top of our level 5 as well. But they're available here as well for access, as well as the grand staircases. Over here you have 2 pergolas that kind of face the front of our apartment. And again, it's just that opportunity to provide communal areas for people to meet and hang out and spend some time outside to really promote that mental health. And so this is actually from Lumion. So again, it was when we were able to implement some more materials and realistic views. So this is that patio area we're talking about. Green roof, grass, a lot of vegetation from trees and bushes and plants, maybe 2 pergolas, and then again, just that open space area throughout the entire apartment complex. So now we have a quick little walkthrough of the patio itself. So as you go through, again, the elevators, you have some of the pergolas, the open space. In Revit, we were not able to put stuff like that, a lot of vegetation and green roof area. So that's why we had Lumion to kind of give that more visual.
So for our residential levels, we really focused that on level 3 and 4. So what we had to do in Revit was actually split it into a 3, 3.5, 4, and 4.5. So for example, this is our level 3. We have, like I mentioned, a lower and upper section of that level. So on this side right here, we have single and studio bedrooms that I was in charge of. And then on the left side, we have 2-bedroom and 3-bedrooms that Angel was in charge of. What we were advised by our advisors to do for singles and studios, because we kind of ran into a problem where we had 20-foot walls, but that wouldn't make sense with studios and singles because that's just way too large. So what we ended up doing was stacking our singles and studios, and that's why I have a lower and upper. So what we have is, this is one singular single bedroom, and then we would have stairs from this, right off the elevator, we have a little general area where people go into their respective houses. So from here, in this little hallway, we had stairs leading up right there, and that would be a second single bedroom. With our, and so, like I said, we had really, we incorporated the stacking design that was advised to us by, especially Alexander and Tom. Here is level 4, and basically for level 4, we just wanted to add a little variation to it, so we inverted it. So on the left side, we have the singles and studios, and then on the right side, we have the 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom. So here is the first single that I was in charge of. As you can see right here, this is just the regular floor plan coming right off of the elevator. This is a rendered photo of just like the living room of the singles. And then here is a quick walkthrough of that single bedroom. So that's coming right off the elevator. I will explain the stairs in a second. And then as we enter the single bedroom, you're in the living room, dining area, and then we will now enter the bedroom with the desk and the bed. And here is the closet, laundry room, and then bathroom. And then we're coming out of it. So with the stairs, we had especially one of the issues that we faced with Revit was just getting the stairs to work. So conceptually, Realistically, those stairs are supposed to lead from level 3 to the door to level 3.5, where our stacked bedroom is. In Revit, we weren't able to do that, but that was just to give a quick idea. The second bedroom that I was responsible for was studios, and so what we really liked, the idea me and Angel both really liked, was a loft idea. So what we have with the lower level of the studio is you come off the elevator, walked into your doors. This first level is basically the more general area. So we have the living room, dining area, kitchen, and then you have these stairs leading up to your loft area, your bedroom area. So we have the bathroom back here, the closet just for towels and stuff. We have the laundry room right here, that bed, and each bedroom, every bedroom including Angel's, all have a balcony that leads into that middle area. This is all railing because we wanted to, like I said, have that open concept. This is the rendering for that loft studio apartment. And then here is a quick walkthrough. We had to do it in 2 parts just because the idea of getting from one level to the other was hard for Revit to establish. So here's the first level as we go from the elevator off. And then you enter into the actual apartment. Here's that living room area with the doors and the windows, dining room, kitchen. And then you can see that staircase is kind of just in the middle that leads up to the loft area. And then from the stairs, you enter the bathroom. And then as we turn, we can see that closet right there. And then the laundry room is on the side with that bedroom, and then the view from the balcony, you can see the interior, and that'll allow for views into that open green space in the middle of our apartment complex.
Alright, so next we're going to go into 2 bedrooms, which I was in charge of designing. So here you have the hallway where you'd enter from the elevator. You come in, you have a large open space again, because that was part of my research, was allowing for that open space. So you have a kitchen here, your dining area, and then a living room area that has access to that balcony that again goes out into the patio. From that you have 1 bedroom on the bottom, closet space, laundry room space, and a full bathroom. And then we get to the upper level here, that is again a lofted area, so you have that big railing view into the whole lower floor area, little loft space, and then again your second bedroom with your full bathroom again. So these were some of the renderings I did in Revit. So again, you have your living room area, a bedroom, and then the kind of living room and kitchen area. And then so we also have some walkthroughs of the 2-bedroom as well. So again, you enter the hallway, you have that big area space, kitchen, dining room, living room, and then from there we're going to go into the first bedroom on the lower. And again, you have closet space there. Then we go into the general communal area, which is just that laundry room and that full bathroom. And then from that, we go into the loft area. So again, you have that big open space, lots of windows and light. And then we go into the top bedroom. Again, just a lot of access to that overall light and open space. And then lastly, the full bathroom on the top area. From that, I'm now going to go into the 3 bedrooms. So 3 bedrooms were a lot like your 2 bedrooms, just bigger. So from here, you go into, from the elevator and hallway, you'd go into the 3 bedroom. You'd have some closet space here, full bathroom, laundry room, and then you have 2 bedrooms on the lower floor here, one with a half bathroom, the other would be shared with the communal full bathroom. You have a big open space for your living room, kitchen, and then also the dining area that leads out kind of to the balcony as well. On the top floors, you just have another lofted area from those stairs there that lead up to, again, lofted area, full bathroom, and 1 bedroom closet space that kind of overlook this, the lower area as well. These were some renderings of the 3 bedroom as well. As you can see, you have the dining room, kitchen, and again a bedroom. And so we also have a walkthrough of this as well. Again, you enter bedrooms, bathrooms, laundry room, then from there we can go up to the second floor, which is that loft in the one bedroom. Alright, from that, we have level 5.
So level 5 was another component that we wanted to put, especially pairing with the level 2 patio. So it is a green roof, in fact. And what we have here is more of the technology sustainable factored in. So right here, as you can see, it is actually a solar panel garden. And we have some more pergolas where people can commune, hang out, group together. These are more spaces, couches and fireplaces for people to hang out. We have plants and planters and vegetation all around the the roof, my bad. And then we have more pergolas in the back for people. Here is actually a rendered photo from Lumion to represent our roof. These are all glass railings to, again, have that have that concept of glass and openness. So as you can see, we have a ton of vegetation that Lumion really helped us be able to load in our solar panel garden. And here is our full building from Revit.
So this is basically the 3D model we imported from Revit, and this is just front view, side view, and kind of an isometric view. Again, it was very limited in the materials and what we could upload, but this is generally the overall kind of look of it. And then this was a front view photo from Lumion of kind of getting to import more of those materials. Next we're going to go into phase 3, which is our physical model and presentation.
In one of our expert meetings with Alexander especially, we started to hit a time crunch, and we really wanted to ask our expert advisors how we are able to get our physical model out, because that was one of our goals. So they advised us to make a mass model. And what a mass model is, it's just basically a perception of the overall mass of the building. You basically just only see the exterior view. Now, we took our own take on that, and we made a mass model with a little bit of detailing, not as much as we would hope to have in a full year of having this class. But, so for materials, we bought basewood, and for our wallpapers, we just used paper to really be able to show our materials that we wanted to use. And we have our fake plants and greenery in the middle. Green roof in level 2 patio.
Next, we basically just have the issues that we've already ran over. In our 3D model, Revit was really limiting in the furniture we could use. We had some problems with our walkthroughs and what the capabilities of the renderings could be. And so to solve that, we used Lumion to kind of give a bigger picture of what our model was. In our physical model, again, it was a lot of a time crunch. So instead of being able to use the laser cutter and import our Revit floor plans as DWG files to CorelDRAW for our laser cutter, that wouldn't work, and we weren't able to figure out why. So instead, me and Allie decided to build our physical model with what time we had left. And time management, again, it was just a struggle with being able to work at this at home with some time problems with RDP, and just in general being able to stay motivated and work on this as well as balancing with other classes. Lastly, our results is something we're really proud of. We were able to complete our floor plans, our walkthroughs, our 3D model. We even had a physical model to give some exterior view, and we were able to get most of our objectives done. So yeah.
So for in the future, if we had more time, or just in general in the future for Revit, we wanted to get a little bit more experience and familiarity with the program. It's really widely used in the field, so we just wanted to, as much as we did gain knowledge and experience in it, we would like more. For realistically, we wanted to hit more of the components of sustainable technology and more of the mental health aspect of everything. For modeling in the future, we would like to create a more detailed model. Obviously, with the time constraints and with COVID being all that, we couldn't really get that, but in the future we would like to.
Lastly, this is our bibliography, if you guys have any questions, but thank you for coming to our presentation. We want to thank our advisors especially for all the help they have given us throughout the year.